Greetings, Patrick here. Dollar Theater, the Voters Edition. This is a segment of Dollar Theater where me and the Cheetah we put up 4 films every week, and then you guys vote to see which one that we watch and review. So this week we went into the world of horror, and we put up The Descent, Cynthia, Fallen, and a classic David Cronenberg film, Rabid, from 1977. I actually got this one right. I did get this right. I had a feeling that Cronenberg would carry the day, and lo and behold, he did. And we will be watching and discussing from 1977, David Cronenberg's Rabid. All right. Wow, It's been a minute since since I saw Rabid. As far as the movie, I haven't seen it in years and years. Of course, I still remember it because obviously because of the remake that the Soska twins tried to do. Um, I have the Soska twins copy. I haven't watched it. I probably will because I like Laura Vandersloot, and it's very interesting to see her play the role of Rose. Um, Basically, she plays the part that Marilyn Chambers played, and Marilyn Chambers also. This is probably I don't know was more well known for the simple fact that Cronenberg directed it, or that Marilyn Chambers did this role in her first mainstream role. As far as her movies go, she was not her first mainstream experience, as she appeared on an ad. I believe it was Snow White or something like that, some sort of shampoo or conditioner or something, and then of course she went into adult films, and but she was looking for something to cross to, she wanted to go cross over to the mainstream. So that's really what a lot of people remember about Rabid. But Rabid is an interesting movie. For one thing, it's in the '70s, so you already know going in that it's a '70s movie, so you know the ending's not going to be happy, because no movies in the '70s ever end up happy. But it's the journey to getting there that's the rub. So Marilyn Chambers, actually, this is really fun too. Is that Rabid actually was produced by none other than Ivan Reitman, Ghostbusters. Um, yeah, he produced Rabid. In fact, he did the one for the casting. Um, David Cronenberg initially wanted Sissy Spacek to play the part, but one of the producers didn't really like her look, and so Ivan Reitman came up there and says, "Hey, listen, Marilyn Chambers, she's looking for something to cross over, to become more mainstream." And so they went ahead and they offered her the role as Rose here in Rabid. Uh, so the movie basically is this woman, Rose, and her boyfriend Hart. They're out there going for a motorcycle ride. They get into a terrible accident, but luckily for them, they're not too far away from a plastic surgery hospital. And the doctors there are talking, and the administrator are talking about expanding their hospital. They're going to become sort of like a franchise when this accident happens, and Dr. Heloid actually dashes out there and saves Rose's life with emergency surgery. Um, but somehow during the surgery, while she's healing, and this is a little bit, this is a part of the problem with this movie. A little bit of it is that Rose mutates, but we don't know why. We never learn why she had no exposure to anything other than the surgery, and it didn't explain why, and the doctors used her own skin to treat her, and there was nothing there at all to tell you why she got sick or what. But that's what happens. She gets sick, and lo and behold, she mutates, gets sick, and then she feels like she needs to feed on other people's blood. So basically, she becomes a vampire. but not your traditional vampire with the fangs and the bat. Sorry, Alucard. But she gets a what they call a stinger, and it's in her armpit right here. So every time she hugs you, she injects her victim and drinks through the stinger. That's what they call it. It's a really strange. I mean, it's like she's giving you a hug, and then she's just um, and she wakes up from a coma, and we see this happen for the first time. She wakes up from a coma, and a patient comes in who can't sleep, and he tries to help her. I actually found this scene a little interesting, is because she was Marilyn Chambers, and you want to try to get nudity as you can with her, and so her first scene, uh, is with another patient, and she's topless, and you think that the guy who comes in there would be all excited and happy about that, but actually he's very uncomfortable, and he tries to break away from it. He basically what he is, he's a gentleman. He doesn't want any part of what's going on with her, being topless. He's not taking advantage of her. But she says that she's cold and she would like to have a hug, and so he does, but he's sort of a little leery about it. And then, unfortunately, that's when he gets hit he becomes the first victim. Um, and his blood won't coagulate, so he's been slowly bleeding. And Dr. Kelly notices this and can't figure out what happened to him. Rose escapes from the hospital. She tries to do this again with a cow. She tries to feed on a cow. Doesn't go so well for her. And then the cow's owner, a drunk farmer, comes in, and that's not so good for him. Because Rose doesn't feed on him, but she definitely messes him up. Now, what happens is the first patient, he leaves the hospital, and then he suddenly becomes rabid, and he attacks people. And that basically is, that's what we see over and over. We see Rose feed on somebody, they go, the disease germates, and then they become rabid. And then they attack, and then, they bite and they kill people. And it becomes an epidemic. Her boyfriend Hart is trying to help her by telling her that, hey, she's patient zero. You gotta come in so we can help you. And she doesn't believe, Rose doesn't believe that she's patient zero, and she wants to prove it. So she feeds off of a guy, and then locks herself in a bedroom and talks to her boyfriend. Her boyfriend's telling her, like, you got to get out of there. Before the patient, before your victim turns, and she doesn't believe it until it's too late, and then the man does indeed attack her. And the next day, in the alleyway, we see her dead body, and this is it's a good movie. It is a good movie. Steven Cronenberg, it's one of his earlier films. He did this movie right after he did Shivers, which basically had this sort of like the same thing, where people in a high rise slowly become sick, sick or possessed or what have you. It's the same sort of theme that he had for Shivers, except that it's a little bit better. But really, what's really interesting about this movie is, I guess how it is how it's played out, and how low key it really is. It sort of reminds me of The Exorcist. Now, I know some people were saying that David Cronenberg got a little too close to George A. Romero's The Crazies, which came out in 1973. But I saw this almost play out more like a documentary or a TV movie, made for TV movie, with bursts of violence and a little bit of nudity. Because it played out like that. It played out more like a medical movie than it did an action-packed or, like tense suspense. The music was very low-key, and it just wasn't there. It was a little bit it was a little bit sluggish. The pacing could have been a little bit quicker. The music could have been a lot better, to tell you the truth, to help drive the narrative. You see people get attacked, but it's like there's no sense of urgency. You're just watching it, and then you watch it again, and you watch it again, and it's just like, okay, but there's no. Well, think of the first 10 minutes of the remake of Dawn of the Dead. That's absolutely terrifying. That whole first 10 minutes is absolutely nuts. That's what's sort of lacking here. But I think it's more because of the time that it was filmed, more than anything else. It was quiet and more restrained. Um, but Cronenberg, his style shows up. He even throws in a little bit of humor into it. Um, I gotta say that it's a real damn shame that Marilyn Chambers could not have gone on to a mainstream career after this, because she really was good. Um, People forget this about Marilyn Chambers. I mean, like people always remember her as a porn star, but if you take that away and just look at her, the woman, she was beautiful, and she could act. She was very good in this. Um, she could have, if they would have had let her, she could have actually made a career as a mainstream actress. In fact, not to say that she couldn't have been one of the very first screen queens, um, but it's just, it didn't. I think that she went right back to adult films after Rabid, which is a shame, because this film here became $1 million. It made over $1 million, which was the first Canadian film to do so. The first Canadian movie that they produced and released, and it made $1 million box office back in 1977 was Rabid. Very interesting, I thought. Uh, the response to it, I mean, I was reading some of the people, how I was reading some of the reviews. I wanted to see how they saw it, and they were not kind to the film, which is a real damn shame, because it's an interesting movie. And I don't know what people expect when you do a horror movie, and especially when you do a pandemic type of movie. It's like, it's not in when you do a movie like Rabbit, you can't put it in a small, tiny little tight box and say, okay, here it is. When you do it, and you're showing what would happen to society if there was a pandemic. Of course, this is 77, not 2020, but you get an idea exactly how society would react. They react to the unknown. The one thing I would have really wished, again, I want to emphasize this, because this was a major plot hole. I don't really like plot holes that much, but there is no explanation on how it happened, how she mutated, how she got her stinger. It's only the fact that she was infecting people over and over and over, and and giving them rabies, and it's just like, okay, how did that happen? We really, if the doctor had used some sort of new, chemical or new treatment or chemotherapy or something to explain it, but there really isn't. And the surgery that Dr. Keloid does, it's normal surgery for someone in her condition. Even today, she was burned, and they took skin. They did a skin graft. Still does. That's still how it's done today, boys and girls. Uh, all right. This is a special edition right here. I found this at the library for a quarter. This is from Somerville House. This came out and this version came out in 2006, and it includes a director's commentary with David Cronenberg, interview with David Cronenberg, and a photo gallery, production notes, and biographies. All right, that is it for our look at Rabid, with written and directed by David Cronenberg, and yeah, thanks for watching. It's a good movie. I recommend it. I haven't seen the remake yet. I have it. I just haven't watched it yet. I have my own reasons for that, but we'll try to get to it sometime if I can find it. All right. The next four movies will be going up, and I mentioned Alucard, and this is sort of like a vampire movie. I decided to like, well, what if we go with the real vampire? So next week, next week we are going to do four vampire movies, and you guys can pick. You guys can pick which vampire movie we watch and review, and we'll see you then. If you're new to the channel, hit the sub button, hit the notification bell, and drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon. Peace.